Hola, 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 bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Forgive me for being tardy to the party. We had some technical difficulties here with the camera. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So this is your first time here, bienvenido. Soy Profe Don Omar. And what we're talking about today is do what I say. We're talking about affirmative two commands, right? Los mandatos afirmativos, okay? Los mandatos afirmativos. And so we're just going to basically run through this. This is a continuation of the shorts that we had come out. And so what we do on this channel is we try to break down concepts that you can use easily and get you speaking Spanish now. So we're going to break down some things with affirmative two commands or informal commands as you'll see it here. And hopefully this will make it easier for you to know how to use these. Okay, so we're going to make sure we get you going with those. All right, so ahora tenemos la primera cosa. So, los mandatos informales, right? So, informal commands or affirmative two commands, these are basically the wording or the titles that we use when we want to tell somebody to do something. So, here are some things that we want to make sure that you know as you progress through this lesson here today. All right, so we want to make sure that you can answer these three questions. Las preguntas que tenemos aquí. All right, so we want to make sure you can answer these three questions here. What is an informal command? When do you use informal commands? How, and then how do you form? That should say, how do you form an informal command? All right, so how do you form an informal command? All right, so we'll fix that really quickly here. All right, so those are the three things we want to make sure that you can address at the end of this lesson, okay? Take that in, digest it as we continue on. All right, so let's give you some background information here about affirmative two commands. When you want to tell someone you address in the normal form of tú, all right, to do something, you're going to use an affirmative informal command. All right, so what does that mean? Basically, anybody that you address in the two form. In other words, it's a family member, a friend, someone younger than you, or somebody you've known for a very long time, colleague, whatever you want to call it. All right, somebody that you've known for a while here and you have a relaxed conversation or you have a relaxed relationship with them, you're going to use the affirmative two commands with them when you want to tell them what to do or something to do. All right. So today we're only talking about the affirmative informal commands. And what does that actually mean? An affirmative informal command is basically you telling someone to do something as opposed to a negative informal command, right? So if we think about what a negative informal command, that would be the opposite. Me say, hey, don't eat that, or hey, don't touch that, or hey, stop doing this or whatever, or don't do this, right? That would be a negative command. That would be another lesson here, but we want to focus on the affirmative, telling someone to do something in a positive concept. All right, you want to think negative and positive, that's totally okay, but this will definitely help you. Now, the second thing here, it says to form the affirmative informal command of regular or stem changing verbs, and that's something that we call boot verbs. And if you haven't really touched base on that, it's not really a big deal right now. But these are the steps on how to form that command. Okay. You want to take that, drop the final S off of the to form of any verb, okay? So, you know, the majority of all of our verbs in el presente, all right, end in an S, right? Estás, tienes, whatever, tocas, hablas, whatever our verb is in the to form, it ends in an S. To get to the command form, you just drop the S, okay? That's all you've got to do there. Or you can just simply go to the el, ella form of the verb, okay? So we use these with people we know, all right? And we've got a good relationship with them where we are in a relaxed setting. And then secondly, how do we form this command? You're just simply going to drop the S off the to form, or you're just going to go directly to your el, ella form of the verb. All right, so aquí tenemos ejemplos. See, we have some examples of affirmative informal commands or affirmative two commands, right? So our step told us you can just go to the to form, and aquí tenemos el verbo hablar, All right. So our AR verb of choice right now is hablar. We would go to the to form, which would be hablas. Okay. And then we're just going to simply drop the S off and we would have our command, habla. All right. So we went from hablas, which is you speak, to habla, speak or talk. Right. All right. Aquí tenemos el verbo comer. Okay. El verbo comer. Vamos a quitar la S. We're going to take off the S. It comes to come. So we go to comes, the to form, and then our command form would be come, okay, which would be eat, okay. Y la última cosa, pedir, our verb pedir. It's a boot verb, all right. The E changes to I, right? So pides would be you order or you ask for, and then our command form would be pide, right? Order or ask for, okay? So those are the steps. Now, what we're looking at in this column right here is basically the él, ella form, la forma de él o ella, or la tercera persona, the third person singular, right? Habla, come, pide, right? So now people might say, well, how do I know if that's, the command or if it's me saying he or she talks or speaks? Well, it's the context of the statement that's being made, okay? So that's going to help you understand where we are with our comment here, okay? It'll help you understand that. The context of the statement will help you understand whether it's a command or a statement about he or she. Plus, you got to take in context clues as well. All right, so let's look at an example here. Por ejemplo, all right, for example, pide un sándwich de atún y queso, okay? Pide un sándwich de atún y queso. This is a command here, okay? We're telling that person, if you remember what we looked at on the previous slide there, pide un sándwich de atún y queso, ask for a tuna and cheese sandwich or order a tuna and cheese sandwich, all right? La segunda cosa que tenemos aquí, o la segunda oración, lava los platos, right? Lava los platos. Lava viene del verbo lavar. It comes from the verb lavar, all right? And lavar significa to wash, right? So lava los platos, wash the dishes, okay? Wash the dishes. All right, so we're giving out commands to people that we know, right? And that we're familiar with, all right? However, okay, those are your regular verbs, right? But we got some verbs that are irregular in Spanish, if you don't know that. We do have some that conjugate a little weird, all right? So we have to make exceptions. We've got to make exceptions when we have these affirmative commands in these irregular verbs, okay? So let's take a look at those. So we've got two statements that we can use here that's going to help us. These phrases or these statements will help us remember what the irregular affirmative commands are. Okay, so our first one is Stephen has 10 pencils, right? Stephen has 10 pencils. Just take that into your mind there. Make sure you remember that. This is actually going to help us with the phrase that we have for our irregular commands. So using this will help you to remember all of the irregular affirmative informal commands. Stephen has 10 pencils. That's what it is in English, right? Now, the sentence that we're going to bring up is not going to be the equivalent to this sentence that we have in English. It has nothing to do with this sentence. The wording and the sounds that you hear are going to help you remember these irregular affirmative to commands. All right, so here we have se ve deben has tiemponsal. Okay, se ve deben has tiemponsal. This is not a sentence. This is a phrase to help us remember the individual irregular commands. We have se, ve, di, ben, has, ten, pon, sal. Each one of those are an irregular command, okay? Irregular affirmative to command. So let's see where they come from, all right? Se viene del verbo ser, ve viene del verbo ir, di viene del verbo decir, okay? Ven viene del verbo venir, haz viene del verbo hacer. Okay, take that in, digest it, write it down. Make sure you have this in libreta, tu cuaderno, okay? Ten viene del verbo tener, pon viene del verbo poner, y sal viene del verbo salir, okay? So take that in, make sure you have this down. Pause the screen if you're watching this on the replay so that you can get this down, All right. Once again, se viven as tiempos sal. Yeah, maybe it doesn't really sound exactly like the statement that we have here, but it's the closest thing that we can get to with that. So if you look up at the top, Stephen has 10 pencils. Se viven as tiempos sal. It's close. It's not the exact same thing. All right, but it's close. Okay, so now we're going to put these into perspective here. We're going to see a little action with these. All right, so make sure you have those down. Here we have the alternative statement, all right, the alternative sentence that you can remind yourself of the irregular affirmative two commands. Ben Diesel has 10 weapons, okay? Ben Diesel has 10 weapons. That's what we actually used in the short, by the way. All right, if you caught the short, Ben Diesel has 10 weapons. Now, let's take that to the streets here. You can also use this saying to remember all of the irregular affirmative informal commands or the affirmative two commands, right? This is somebody we know, right? This is when we use these. Ben Diesel has 10 weapons. That little SE on the end, just elongate the syllable there. Ben Diesel has 10 weapons. Ben Diesel has 10 weapons. Ben Diesel has 10 weapons. All right. So once again, it's just a different order, but these are the same affirmative two commands that are irregular. Okay. So once again, ben being in the verbo venir, right? Come. All right, to come. And then di being in the verbo decir, right? To say or to tell. Sal being in the verbo salir, to leave or to go out or to get out of. It depends on the context of the statement. As being in the verbo hacer, okay? Ten being in the verbo tener, all right, which is have. As would be like do or to make. So I want to say something like make your bed, right? Or make a sandwich or whatever, all right? Do your homework or do your job. We would use as. Ve, okay, viene del verbo ver. Pon viene del verbo poner. And let's go back and make sure we understand what ve viene del verbo ver. It comes from the verb ver, all right? Ver, to see or to watch. Okay, pon viene del verbo poner, which is to place, to set, or to put. All right. And in some situations, it could be like turn on, right? If we say pon la radio, right? Turn on the radio. And then se, viene del verbo ser. And so we're going to use that with like be, as in that concept. Okay. Be. All right. Now, here are some verbs you might use to ask someone to help you in the kitchen. Note that calentar is an E to IE boot verb. What does that mean? Okay, that's a whole different story about boot verbs. If you are familiar with that, great. If not, let's give you the basic rundown of what a boot verb is. All right, so when we conjugate, right, when we change it to agree with the speaker, okay, who is speaking here or who we're talking about, we've got to change that E that you see in calentar to IE. All right. And that E to IE is going to change in todas las formas del verbo, all the forms of the verb, except for the form of vosotros or nosotros. All right. We are not going to change that E in the nosotros form or the vosotros form if that is something that you use. All right. So let's take a look at the verbs that we use in the kitchen, right? Abrir, which is to open. All right. Calentar, which is to heat up or to warm up. Sacar, to take out, okay? Y también tenemos cortar, which is to cut. Mezclar, which is to mix. And añadir, which is to add, okay? So now, if you know your rules on conjugating, you should be able to simply use one of the two choices that we gave you for you to get to an irregular affirmative or to a regular affirmative to command, right? You either go to the to form and drop the S, or you go to la forma de él o ella. You go to the he or she form of the verb, and it's going to get you the same result, okay? It's kind of like long division and short division, right? You've got a long way to do it, which is going to the to form and dropping the S, or you can go the short division way, or just simply go to the él, ella form of the verb, right? Y aquí tenemos ejemplos usando los verbos que tenemos en la cocina. So we have some examples here that we use in the kitchen, right? So we've got corta las zanahorias, por favor. All right. Corta las zanahorias, por favor. So you're telling perhaps a friend, a roommate, or a child of yours, hey, cut the carrots, please. Right. Affirmative command, right? As opposed to the negative command, which would be like, don't cut the carrots, all right? That's the opposites there. Let's look at the next one. Calienta el chocolate, all right? Calienta el chocolate. Warm up or heat up the chocolate, okay? There is an additional choice there. Let me switch this blind here. Give me a second here. Okay, so now aquí tenemos el título o el tema, necesito ayuda, right? I need help. Let's see where we're going with this. A little example, little activity that you can put together here. Tus padres necesitan ayuda con los quehaceres. Dile que debe hacer. Usa mandatos informales. All right, so your parents need help with the chores, right? Think about this in this concept. Dile que debe hacer. Tell them what you should. They're telling you what you should do. Use the informal commands, right? Aquí tenemos el ejemplo, all right? Un modelo, lava los platos, right? Wash the dishes. That's you telling, that's what they're telling you, right? Wash the dishes. All right, so now let's take a look here at an example of an activity here con las preguntas. All right, so el amigo desesperado, all right? So this friend is like, has no clue what to do. So they're asking you to give them the command on what they need to do. So all of our questions are going to be in like the yo form, right? They're saying, do I blah, 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 right? So let's look at the first one. La primera oración o la primera pregunta. ¿Caliento la sopa antes de preparar el pollo o después? All right, so let's work this out. Caliento la sopa. Do I heat up or warm up the soup antes de preparar el pollo o después? Right? Antes o después. Are we warming up the soup before we prepare the chicken or cook the chicken, or after? Right? That's what they want to know. So now you are that friend that's helping them out. You're going to tell them what they should do with the soup. Okay? So caliento la sopa. Do I warm up the soup? We would say, sí, calienta la sopa, right? Because we haven't gotten to a point where we're using pronouns yet. That's a whole nother lesson, right? Where we start bringing in the pronouns. We just want to basically understand how to use our commands, right? So I'm going to put in the chat here the answers to these questions so that you can have this to look in the comment section here in the chat. So calienta la sopa. All right. So we can say calienta la sopa antes de preparar el pollo, right? Warm up the soup before you make the chicken, right? Or prepare the chicken. All right, número dos. ¿Pongo las servilletas al lado de los platos o encima de los platos? All right. Pongo las servilletas. They're asking you, do I put the napkins beside the dishes or the plates or on top of them? All right. Do I put the napkins beside the plates or on top of them? So we're going to take that and say, put the napkins beside, right? Put the napkins beside the plates. So we would take that, and remember, this is pongo. Do I put, right? Well, that should send off a little alarm in your head that pongo, viene del verbo poner. Poner. Okay, poner is an irregular verb, so it's one of those irregular commands. So you're going to use one of those two phrases that we went over. Stephen has 10 pencils, or Seve Diven has 10 ponsal, right? Those are the two phrases that are going to help us remember our irregular affirmative two commands, right? And so if you're just joining us, welcome. We are going over how to make a command in Espanol, okay? So, pongo las servilletas. Se ve diven hasta pon, right? That's my command, sal, right? Or we've got Vin Diesel has 10 weapons. Ben Diesel has 10 weapons, right? The pon, there again. So there, our answer would be número dos. Do I put the napkins beside the plates or on top of them? Pon las servilletas al lado de los platos. They're not really, it could be on top. If you chose on top, that would be perfectly okay. as well. But I chose to put beside, okay? So there's my answer there. Pon las servilletas al lado de los platos, okay? Put the napkins beside the plates. All right, número 3. ¿Saco el flan del refrigerador antes de comer o después, right? Do I take out the flan from the refrigerator before we eat or after we eat, okay? Do I take out the flan from the refrigerator before we eat or after we eat? So we're going to tell them take it out after we eat, right? Take it out after we eat. So we got saco. Okay, this is a regular verb here. Okay, so remember our rules for creating an affirmative to command that's with a regular verb, regular AR verb. Sacar, right? Go to the LAR form of the verb or go to the to form and drop the S. Either way, we're coming to the same response. All right. Y ahora tenemos, do I take out the flan before or after? All right. So we're going to say take it out after we eat. Okay. So saco would become what? Saca el flan. All right. Saca el flan después de comer. Okay. And you could come out with the complete sentence, saca el flan del refrigerador después de comer. All right, but I shortened it down in the chat there so you can see the choice or the answer that we have for número 3. Okay. Y número 4. ¿Mezclo el café con leche o con aguas? All right. ¿Mezclo el café con leche o con aguas? All right. So, or con agua. I don't know why that would be there, but we're going to use, do I mix? Remember, mezclo viene del verbo mezclar. It's an AR verb. It is regular, right? It doesn't fall in my ven di sal haz 10 verpons or Stephen has 10 pencils, say ve di ven haz 10 pon sal. It's not included in one of those phrases. So it's a regular verb, right? So mezclo viene del verbo mezclar. It's an AR verb, okay? We're going to take that AR off and give it either the to form, which would be mezclas, right? And then our rule was drop the S, or you could do the short division way, right? The short division way, and just go to the LA form of the verb mezclar, all right? So mezclar, we could just go, oh, mezcla, right? Él mezcla, ella mezcla. So I'm going to use that form, all right? Mezcla el café con leche o con agua, all right? Vamos a decir, mezcla, all right? Mezcla el café con leche. Okay. Mezcla el café con leche. All right. Es la respuesta para el número 4. All right. Y número 5 que tenemos aquí. ¿Preparo el pollo con zanahorias o con espinacas? All right. Do I prepare the chicken with carrots or with spinach? I mean, I don't know where you're from, but I'm probably going to go with the zanahorias, which are carrots. All right, we're going to leave that espinacas and put that on the side, right? Or wherever whatever you do. I don't know. All right, so preparo el pollo. Okay, preparo viene del verbo preparar. Doesn't fall in ve di ven haz 10 pon sal or ven di sal haz 10 verpons. So we don't hear preparo or preparar in that phrase, so it's not irregular. Great. So preparo viene del verbo preparar. Es un verbo que termina en AR. All right. So it comes from the verb preparar and it ends in AR, right? So, okay, cool. It's an AR verb. It's going to be real simple. I just need to go to long division, to form, drop the S, or I can go short division. LA form of the verb, right? Same thing here. So la respuesta, do I prepare the chicken with the carrots? That's what we're going to say. Yes. All right. All right. Sí. Prepara el pollo con las zanahorias. All right. Y aquí tenemos la respuesta para número 5 in the chat. All right. So we've got the answer for number 5 in the chat. Awesome. All right. So hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down here right now. And if you're finding value in this live lesson, make sure to give it a like and share it out with anybody that you know that is trying to get better at understanding these affirmative to commands or the affirmative informal commands. or you just know that they're looking for some easy lessons to grab onto and actually be able to utilize them in a conversation in their daily life, right? All right, so número 6, sirvo. Sirvo el helado con la comida o con el postre. All right. Sirvo el helado con la comida o con el postre. Do I serve the ice cream with the food or with the dessert? Okay. Do I serve? I'm asking you because I don't know this. I don't know how to do this whole preparing and serving stuff at this meal that we're having here. Do I serve the ice cream, right, with the food or with the dessert? You are the more competent friend here, so you're telling me serve it with dessert, Omar, right? Serve it with dessert. Profe, serve it with the dessert. So we're going to say, okay, now we've got to understand a couple things here. Sirvo viene del verbo servir, all right? It's an IR verb, okay? A little tricky, but we can still handle it. Okay, it's a boot verb. Okay, now it steps up a little bit. But the secret here with servir, and I want you to write this down so that you can start getting an idea of what these boot verbs are, what these stem changing verbs are. All right, and we'll do a lesson on boot verbs and stem changing verbs so you can get a better grasp on it, or you can find it on the internet right now. But sirvo, okay, it's an E to I stem changing verb. E to I stem changing verb. So you see that we changed that E to an I. Right? And we're going to do that change in all forms of the verb except for la forma de nosotros y la forma de vosotros. All right? So we're not going to do that E to I stem change with the nosotros form, the we form, or the y'all form in España. Okay, so we're doing the change here. So we're going to say sirvo. It's an IR verb, so we know that our ending is an E. Okay? Sirve el helado con el postre. Es la respuesta para el número 6. All right. Sirve el helado con el postre. We're giving you enough examples that you can always come back to this and kind of look and understand, and we're giving you variety as well. We're going to try to give you some AR verbs, some ER verbs, and some IR verbs. All right. So that you can have enough practice to go out here in these Spanish streets and use them on your own. All right. Y la última pregunta. ¿Prueba la ensalada antes de añadir el atún o después? ¿Prueba la ensalada antes de añadir el atún o después? Do I try or taste the salad before adding the tuna or after? Okay. I guess it's tuna salad. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what y'all are preparing here. This is some weird food, right? So do I try the salad before adding the tuna or after? Okay. We're going to probably tell this person, hey, man, try the salad after you add the tuna, right? So, en número 7, okay, número 7, vamos a decir prueba, all right? Prueba is a boot verb alert, right? We've got a boot verb alert. The verb, the original form, el infinitivo is probar, P-R-O-B-A-R, right? Probar. But it's a boot verb, stem changing verb. The O changes to UE in all forms except la forma de nosotros o la forma de vosotros in España, right? So probar, the O changes to UE in all forms, all right, except nosotros and vosotros in España. So we're going to say prueba, right? La ensalada. Okay. Después de añadir, and forgive me for not having any accents and tildes. The tildes, forgive me for not having the tildes on here. It does not pick it up when I'm typing in español. Okay. So prueba la ensalada después de añadir el atún. I got an extra space in it. Okay. Atún. Right. Y es la respuesta para el número 7. Okay. Prueba la ensalada después de añadir el atún. Try the salad after you add the tuna. Like if you're adding tuna to this salad, why would you try it before? It makes zero sense, right? Okay. So that was just a little basic example. The last activity we have here for you, sé una buena estudiante. All right. Be a good student here. Okay, so this is going to take us, el tema es, en la escuela. This is the topic here, being in school here. Last example here says, tu amiga quiere mejorar sus notas. Dile que necesita hacer. Your friend wants to improve their grades. Tell him or tell her what he or she needs to do. Okay, that's the concept. Modelo. All right, estudiar mucho. All right, so we're going to tell our friend here, because it says there, tu amiga, who happens to be a female friend, right? Tu amiga, right? So we're going to tell her, hey, estudia mucho, right? Study a lot, okay? So you see where we're going with this, all right? So here we go. Hacer la tarea, right? Do your homework, okay? Do your homework or do your work, right? Hacer la tarea, okay? Hacer. Okay, we've got to remember, hacer. Steven has 10 pencils. Steven has 10 pencils. It does fall into our irregular group, right? Vendi sal has 10 pencils, right? As, right? Remember, all H's are silent in Espanol, right? So, hacer la tarea. Hacer la tarea. We're going to go with haz la tarea, right? Haz la tarea. Okay, this is the new section here. All right, so we're going to type that. I'm going to say new activity. All right, so we can kind of have a section, a breaking in the section here in the chat. So we're going to say número uno, la respuesta. Haz la tarea es la respuesta. Haz ten ponsal, right? Or haz vendisal, haz ten vepons, right? So haz la tarea. Okay. All right, número dos. Ir a clase todos los días. Ir, el verbo ir significa to go, right? Ir. Se ve, diven, it's another irregular verb. All right. Ve, right? That's the one that we need because ve comes from being a verbo ir, right? What we took down in our notes at the beginning. All right. So ve. I want to tell this person, go to class every day. That's what this is. Ir a clase todos los días. We want to say ve a clase todos los días. Okay. Número dos, ¿ok? Y ahora tenemos número tres, salir temprano para el colegio. All right? Salir temprano para el colegio. We're using the easier version here. There is another verb. If you caught one of the shorts that we talked about, there was a difference between ir and irse. Irse is dealing with a pronoun, so we're not going to touch on that one. We're going to talk about salir to make this easy, okay? So we want to say leave early for school, okay? Just going to give you that example here. We could use irse. That would be the better choice anyway. But to keep it simple, we just want to get an idea of how to use these. All right, salir, right? Think about that verb, salir, sal. Oh, vendi sal. Ah, it's an irregular verb. So sal is my command, right? Sal. Sal temprano para el colegio. All right. Sal temprano para el colegio. Número tres, leave early for school. Okay. Y ahora tenemos escuchar bien en clase. Right. Listen well in class, or listen, right. Pay attention, basically, is what you're telling this person, right? Listen well in class. All right. So regular verb. Escuchar does not fall into Vin Diesel has 10 weapons, right? All right, or Stephen has 10 pencils. Doesn't fall in there. So it's a regular AR verb. Remember, what are our steps to get to the command, right? You've got long division and short division that we talked about earlier. Our short division is the way we like to go because it gets us speaking fast, right? Or thinking and speaking quickly, right? So escuchar, el AR form, escucha. There we go, escucha, right? So escucha bien en clase. Excelente. La respuesta para el número 4. Ok. Qué bien. All right. Y número 5. Oh, man. What am I doing? All right. There we go. Escucha bien en clase. All right. I should have been doing this the whole time. Oops. My fault. All right. Número 5. Trabajar en clase. All right. Trabajar en clase. All right. So we're going to hide that. Trabajar en clase. Because we got some people maybe joining us over on Facebook as well. So shout out to you if you're joining us via Facebook. All right, trabajar en clase, work in class, right? Work in class. That's what we want to tell you. All right, do your work in class, do some work, right? So regular verb doesn't fall into se diven hasta ponsal or vendizo hasta vepons, right? Doesn't fall into that. So it's regular, short division here. Want to get you the shortcut. LA, a form of the verb, right? So número cinco is going to be trabaja, right? Trabaja en clase, work in class. Trabaja en clase, okay? Trabaja en clase, okay? Hopefully you picked up what I put down here as far as the commands. It should be coming together fairly quickly and fairly easy. Now that we're working with a variety of verbs here. All right, here we go. Venir conmigo a la biblioteca. Venir conmigo a la biblioteca. Come with me to the library is what you're telling this person, right? Because they want to improve their grades. Come with me to the library. Okay. So now we've got to say this word venir. Oh man, ven. Oh, okay. Ven. Se ve di ven hasta ponsal or ven di sal. Ven, right? It's irregular. So we know the irregular command is ven, right? Ven conmigo. Oh, let me put the number in here. Número 6. Ven conmigo a la biblioteca. And you can use this in a variety of ways. Anytime you want to tell somebody to come with you, right? The most common phrase that we use from this in the command form, let's go ahead and put that in the chat here and I'll bring it up on the screen. But the most common command that you hear with ven is ven acá or ven pa acá or ven aquí, right? Now you know what they're talking about when they say ven aquí, ven pa acá, ven acá, right? They're telling you to come here, right? Informal command. All right. So you can use this in a variety of ways. Now you know what that means when somebody says ven pa acá or ven aquí or ven acá. 3 ways to say one thing, right? Come here. All right. Hey man, whatever. But those are the examples with venir. All right. Ser trabajadora. All right. Remember, we're talking to a female friend, right? Ser trabajadora. I want to tell her, be hardworking, right? Be a hardworking student. Be hardworking. Let's take that into, okay, so here we go. Ser. Ser. All right. Se vendiven hasta ponsal, right? Or vendizal hasta vepons. We got to elongate that on the end of vepons, because that's where our answer lies, right? So, número 7, vamos a decir se, and there should be an accent on the E, even though you're not going to see it on here because, once again, StreamYard is not picking up my accents on the screen here. All right, but we definitely want to tell her, se trabajadora. All right. We had a question come up or a statement come up in one of our previous classes here a couple of weeks ago about using se triste or se feliz, right? And they didn't quite understand because we were talking about reflexive pronouns, but this is the se that you were talking about. Se trabajadora. Let me put that on the screen for número 7. All right, se trabajadora. There would be an accent on the E in se. All right, be hardworking. So se triste or se feliz, that would be sad or be happy, right? All right, that's what we were referring to in one of our classes from a couple of weeks ago. Okay, número 8. And I think this is the last one, maybe. Tener los útiles contigo. All right, tener los útiles contigo. Have your materials with you, right? Don't go to school or don't go to class without your items that you need. Have your materials with you. All right, tener, ten. Oh man, bendizal hasta vepons. Okay, there it is. Se vendiven hasta ponsal. There it is again. So we know that tener es irregular también. Got a lot of irregular work with these today. That's a good one. All right, that's a good deal. All right, because all the other ones are easy, right? All the other ones are super easy. You can just simply, LA form. Technically, you could just take off the R in the regular verbs, right? And it's going to get you to the LA form of the verb or the command form that you're looking at right here. But here we have ten los útiles contigo. All right, es la respuesta para esta parte. O esta oración que tenemos aquí, ten los útiles contigo. Okay, and that's how your answer is going to look coming up to you in the chat or right here on the screen. Ten los útiles contigo. Have your items or materials with you. Okay, there is the answer para número 8. Okay. If you have any questions, make sure you put those in the chat or put them in the comments section after the video is over here. But that is it, damas y caballeros. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. We'll be back this week again, probably on Wednesday or Thursday. Jueves. It'll be jueves, el jueves, on Thursday. We'll be back again. We'll have a different class pulled up for you on that. We're going to take it a little bit further, a little bit deeper here. We've got some people that have reached out to me to say, hey, man, I need to understand when to use el pretérito or when to use el imperfecto. And so we're going to break down. We're probably, I don't know. I mean, we don't have one of those pop-up classes, pop up on Wednesday. So we might have to do two because I want to separate it. Or we can just do one long class, but I don't like doing long classes. So we'll probably do a Wednesday class and a Thursday class, keep them separate. And then on Saturday, we'll have another class like we did where we do practice with Profe. And then we'll actually bring it together and do some brain work on when to use el pretérito or el imperfecto. And if you don't know what those are the simple past tenses that we use in Espanol. So definitely pull up if you're looking to try to understand when should you use one or the other. But other than that, this is all. Make sure you give it a like if you found value in this video today. And if you haven't subscribed already, this is your first time here, you've been here a couple of times, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you can continue to get the notifications here of when we go live for these free live classes. I enjoyed having you in here today. I enjoyed you on the replay. If you're watching it on the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And we'll be back later this week with a new lesson. Soy Profe Don Omar. Nos vemos.